what you want to be.
You think the songs that survived the 60s were obvious from the start. They were not. Some were buried on the wrong side of a record.
You know she is there, she can share your love.
Some missed the chart completely. One sat so dead in the water that the duo split apart, until a producer changed it behind their backs.
I see friends shaking hands, saying how.
And accidentally created a #1 hit. These are not instant classics.
Many things don't seem the same.
These are records that failed first, waited in the dark, and came back louder than anyone expected. Number 15, I Want to Take You Higher by Sly and the Family Stone. The wrong side of the record was where this fire started. I Want to Take You Higher first appeared behind Stand, treated like the extra piece of a bigger hit. But listen to that chant. Nothing about it sounds secondary. It sounds like a crowd already rising before the label catches up. In 1969, the public was supposed to follow the A-side. Instead, this buried groove kept forcing its way into the room. When it returned with stronger chart life, it proved what the first release had missed. The song was not a leftover, it was a command. That is what makes this one feel so alive. Some records do not flop because they lack power. They flop because somebody puts the power in the wrong place. And the next song was hidden behind one of the biggest rock singles of the decade.
I saw her today at the reception.
Number 14, You Can't Always Get What You Want by the Rolling Stones.
That you can't always get what you want.
How does a song this enormous begin as the other side? The Rolling Stones placed You Can't Always Get What You Want behind Honky Tonk Women, where most listeners were not trained to look first. The chart did not treat it like a monster. Time did. At first, it was too strange to behave like a normal single. A choir opening, a slow build, a lyric that sounded less like romance and more like a warning, whispered after everything went wrong.
But if you try sometime, just my.
Radio had the hit on the front. The future was hiding on the back. That is the quiet revenge of this record. The industry saw a flip side. Listeners eventually heard a sermon, and from that slow-burning sermon, we moved to a love song that missed the big pop moment before becoming permanent.
Oh, and my heart was wrapped up in clothes.
Number 13, At Last by Etta James.
And you smile.
Not every flop sounds like failure when you hear it now. At Last feels so complete that it almost seems impossible people did not make it a giant pop hit immediately. But on the main chart, Etta James only reached the middle, not the summit. The record had everything.
I found a dream
That opening sweep, that voice, that feeling of someone finally arriving after years of waiting. Still,
a thrill that I have never.
the 60s did not give it the pop crown people assume it had. The real victory came later, slowly, through weddings, films, first dances, and every moment when ordinary words felt too small.
I want a Sunday kind of love.
The chart measured a single season. The song kept measuring whole lives. Some records wait in plain sight. The next one almost vanished completely, until one famous listener remembered it.
I've got my mind set on you. I've got my mind set.
Number 12, I Got My Mind Set on You by James Ray. Here is the cruel part. James Ray had the song, but not the moment. His early 60s recording of I Got My Mind Set on You
Gonna take money. Oh, let us spend that money.
slipped out, made little noise, and disappeared into the kind of pile where good records go when nobody important is listening. There was no explosion, no long chart life, no grand rescue waiting the next week.
It's gonna take time, a lot of precious time.
Just a record that seemed finished. Then, decades later, George Harrison remembered it. A former Beatle pulled that forgotten groove back into daylight.
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set.
And turned it into a #1 hit. That does not make the first version weak. It makes it unlucky.
And this time I know it's real. The feeling that I...
Some songs survive because one listener refuses to forget them. But the next record did not need a Beatle. It needed history to admit the chart had been wrong.
I pulled into Nazareth. I was feeling about half-past 10.
Number 11, The Wait by the band.
Take a load for free. Take a load off plan.
The chart heard a minor record. The years heard something closer to scripture. The Wait barely climbed when the band released it as a single, stopping far below where a song this famous should have been. On paper, it was not a smash. In memory, it became enormous. That is because The Wait never moved like a normal hit.
Go down, Moses. There ain't nothing that you can say.
It traveled through radios, cover versions, films, and late-night rooms where people sang along before they fully understood why.
Take a load off Fanny.
The characters sounded strange. The chorus felt ancient. The whole thing seemed less written than discovered.
And I do believe that it's time to get back to this.
A weak chart number could not hold it. The song kept spreading, quietly and stubbornly, until it felt like it had always been there. And next, a failed first recording finally finds the scream that had been missing.
You know you make me wanna shout, kick my heels up and down, throw my hands up and...
Number 10, Twist and Shout by the Isley Brothers.
You wanna let me go.
The first version missed the pulse completely. Twist and Shout was recorded before the Isley Brothers touched it, but that earlier record went nowhere. It had the title, it had the bones. What it did not have was the explosion. Then the Isley Brothers took it and made the song move like a body instead of a product. Ronald Isley did not sing it politely. He pushed it until the whole thing sounded ready to tear loose. That version finally became a hit, and then the Beatles heard it and pushed the song even further into history. But the rescue started here. A failed record found the right voice and suddenly made sense. And from that rescued shout, we moved to a failed confession that only Elvis could turn into a comeback.
Because I love you too much, babe.
Number 9, Suspicious Minds by Elvis Presley.
We can go on together with suspicious minds.
The man who wrote it could not make people care. Mark James recorded Suspicious Minds first, and the record disappeared without becoming the hit he knew might be hiding inside it.
I can't walk out.
The song had jealousy, fear, and love collapsing into each other. Still, his version never broke through. Then Elvis walked into American Sound Studio in Memphis, after years of movie soundtracks had dulled his edge. He needed something real.
Just about to say hello. Would I still...
This song gave him exactly that. Listen to the desperation in the vocal. It does not sound like a man performing Suspicion. It sounds like a man trapped inside it. The failed version became Elvis's final #1 during his lifetime. And after that comeback, we turned to a record America barely noticed, even though the future of guitar was burning through it. Number 8, Purple Haze by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. How does a song become legendary without becoming a giant American pop hit first? Purple Haze barely climbed in the United States compared to the place it holds now. The chart treated it like a strange rock single. History heard the electric future kicking the door open.
Excuse me while I kiss this guy.
That riff did not sound polite. It sounded bent, overloaded, almost dangerous. Hendrix was not just playing guitar. He was making the instrument feel unstable.
Oh, if it's whatever it is, that girl put a spell.
Like it could melt in his hands. Radio did not fully know what to do with that kind of noise yet. But listeners did. Guitar players definitely did. The song became bigger than its number because it changed the room around it. The chart missed the earthquake. And next, Motown left a #1 hit sitting quietly at the end of an album.
Now if there's a smile on my face, it's only
Number 7, The Tears of a Clown by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles.
the tears of a clown when there's no one.
Motown had a #1 hit and somehow left it waiting for 3 years. The Tears of a Clown was recorded in the 60s, but it was not pushed like a future classic. It sat on an album, dressed as the last track, while everyone moved on. The sound was almost too clever.
Now if I appear to be carefree, it's only to
Those bright circus-like touches made the sadness sneak up on you. Smokey Robinson heard a clown in the music and wrote about a man smiling while breaking inside. That contrast was the whole trick. Joy on the surface, damage underneath. Then someone in England pulled it out, and the forgotten album track became a #1 hit. If you love stories like this, subscribe and stay with us, because the buried ones are often the best. And the next song failed because America heard it before America needed it.
Smile on your brother, everybody get together. Try to love.
Number 6, Get Together by the Youngbloods. It was not the song that changed, it was the country around it. Get Together came out in 1967 and only made a small dent. The message was simple, almost painfully direct. Come on, people now.
We are but a moment's sunlight.
Smile on your brother. But the first time, radio did not turn it into the anthem it could have been.
Come on, people now. Smile on your brother, everybody.
Then the world grew heavier. 2 years later, after public service exposure pushed it back into the light. The same recording returned and climbed into the top 5. Nothing had to be rewritten, nothing had to be dressed up.
We are but a moment's sunlight.
The moment finally caught up to the song. That is the strange power of timing. A failed single can become a prayer when the room gets desperate enough to hear it.
They've been rolling on the ground now, smiling.
And next, Major Tom launches too early for America to understand.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Number 5, Space Oddity by David Bowie.
This is Major Tom to ground control.
Major Tom launched before America knew what to do with David Bowie. Space Oddity arrived in 1969, tied to the moon landing, full of strange distance and lonely theater. In Britain, people noticed. In the United States, the song mostly floated past. That was the problem with Bowie at first. He sounded like someone broadcasting from a future nobody had agreed to enter yet. The countdown, the drifting vocal, the astronaut cutting loose from Earth.
You've really made the grade.
All of it felt too odd for ordinary radio. Then Bowie became Ziggy Stardust. Suddenly the strange man made sense.
Time to leave the capsule if you dare.
RCA reissued Space Oddity, and America finally let Major Tom into the chart.
Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare.
Being ahead of your time can look exactly like failure until the world catches up.
I'm stepping through the door.
And the next song waited even longer before American radio finally surrendered.
Nights in white satin. Never
Number 4, Nights in White Satin by the Moody Blues.
beauty I'd always missed with these.
America ignored the drama the first time. Nights in White Satin came out in the 60s with that huge orchestral sweep, that aching vocal, and that feeling of love turning into fog. It was not built like an ordinary pop single.
Beauty I've always missed with these.
And American radio treated it that way. The song was too long, too grand, too serious for the moment. It sounded less like a hit and more like someone reading his diary under cathedral lights.
Yes, I love
In 1967, that was a problem. 5 years later, it became the reason the song worked.
you. They can understand.
The reissue climbed near the top of the American chart, and suddenly all that drama felt necessary.
And I love you.
The record had not grown bigger, the audience had. And next, Motown hides one of its greatest songs until radio forces the door open.
I'll show plans to make me blue with some
Number 3, I Heard It Through the Grapevine by Marvin Gaye.
honey, honey, well,
Motown had the hit in its hands and still held it back. Marvin Gaye recorded I Heard It Through the Grapevine, but Berry Gordy did not want it released as a single.
don't you know that I heard it through the grapevine?
So one of the greatest voices in soul history was left sitting on an album while the company looked elsewhere. Then radio made the decision for them.
I'm just about to lose my mind, honey, honey.
Disc jockeys started playing Marvin's version because the public could feel what the label had missed. That vocal was not just suspicion, it was humiliation, heartbreak,
Tears I can't hold inside.
and disbelief tightening around every word. By the time Motown finally released it, the audience had already voted. The song became one of the label's biggest records ever. The company rejected it. The people rescued it.
Do you plan to let me go for the other?
And the next song was nearly buried in America by one man who refused to hear its beauty.
I see trees of green.
Number 2, What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong.
What a wonderful world.
One of the gentlest songs ever recorded, almost died in its own country. What a Wonderful World had Louis Armstrong looking at trees, skies, babies, and friends, with a voice that sounded older than pain itself. The world outside was burning.
I see friends shaking hands, say,
But he sang like beauty was still worth defending. In Britain, the song became a major hit. In America, it was badly mishandled. The label head disliked it and gave it almost no push.
I watched them grow. They'll learn.
So the country that should have embraced it first barely noticed. Then years later, a film brought it back. Suddenly, America heard what it had missed. That is the ache inside this record.
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky.
The song was not too small. The people guarding the door were. But number 1 failed even harder. It broke up the duo, then came back after someone changed it without permission.
Because of vision softly creeping
Number 1, The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel.
within the sound of silence.
The song that made them famous was the version they did not know existed. Simon and Garfunkel released The Sound of Silence as a quiet acoustic track on their debut album, and the album failed so badly the partnership fell apart. Paul Simon left for England. The song seemed finished.
I turn my collar to the cold and damp.
Then producer Tom Wilson heard something inside that failure. Without telling either of them, he added electric guitars, bass, and drums to the original recording.
And in the naked light I saw
The quiet folk song came back with a new body, and suddenly radio could not ignore it. The remix went to #1. Simon Came Home. The duo reunited.
Of silence, and in the naked light.
A song about silence became immortal only after someone added noise. That was not the end of a failure. It was the sound of one being transformed.
People hearing without listening.
These songs prove that a flop is not always a verdict. Sometimes the label picks the wrong side. Sometimes radio misses the point. Sometimes the public needs years to catch up. But a real song keeps waiting. It waits in old albums, forgotten singles, film scenes, and late-night memories. Then one day, someone plays it again, and the whole story changes. The first release can fail. The chart can be wrong. The room can be empty. But if the song has something alive inside it, sooner or later, it finds the ears it was meant for.
If I leave you tomorrow.
When you're on the street, you got to be able to pick out the easy meat.